Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Pittsburgh Sports Memories Current Events. I'm your co-host Steve Wirt, and I'm joined by.
I'm the other co-host. I'm Tim Hannon.
Hey, we're co-hosting this. Yay! So today we're going to start off with the good old their Penguinis. Here, Tim, let me bring up some things that maybe you. What do these things have in common, Tim? It's kind of like SAT time, right? Stars 3, Penguins 2, Ducks 4, Penguins 3, Sharks 6, Penguins 5, Mammoth 5. What the Mammoth? What a joke. The Penguins 4, Utah hockey, the Mormons. All these have in common is that there's all blown leads in the third period, Tim. Penguins, like these all could have been wins very easily, or at least half of these could have been wins. Especially the one against the Sharks, and they had a 4 goal lead
Yeah.
and blew it. And then there was another game. Was that the same game that the Sharks where they gave up a goal with 0.1 seconds
No, that
left?
was that was the Ducks. That was the game before
Or
that.
Ducks, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been ugly for the Penguins lately. They're on a 5 game non-winning streak. I guess they might have went to over, got a point
They,
somewhere
all
because
those
they
games
lost.
went to all those games that you mentioned went to
Yeah,
overtime. So they got points in them, but I mean, my goodness, it's
yeah.
that's a demoralizing point. I was on X on Saturday and I saw that the Penguins feed in between the second and third period, they're like, let's finish this. And I'm like, oh my God, no, they're going to jinx it. But then I was like, no, they have a 4 goal lead. Like they blew in 3 goal leads, but not a 4 goal lead. And then sure enough, they blew in. But I will say, reading the comments under that post later was entertaining.
They got finished, all right. I guess, yeah, stuff like that.
They're a young team. They're a young team. They're inconsistent. And, again, they're doing better than any of us expected. They're not ready for prime time. They're just not. This is fixable. It's just
Can we get rid of Carlson yet, or Letang, or I guess they're never going to get rid of Letang, but Carlson at least. I guess that uh, it's just some of the veterans are just killing this team. It's not, and then like some of the coaching decisions. Like I was reading, they're putting Carlson and Letang out on the ice at the same time. Does that seem like a recipe for disaster, or is that just me? I mean,
yeah, it's also a young coach, not a young coach, but not a super experienced coach. Again, it's growing pains. It's nothing that makes me panic because,
okay. I think this is in the Penguins' head, quite honestly.
well, yeah, and like I said, this is all. I'd rather we be disappointed because they're blowing leads than them just being,
Not even in it.
5-23, which is what I would have expected, like at this point in the season.
No. Well, on our long-awaited, we've been waiting for this for how many years now? As the Penguins finally traded Tristan Jarry, and they traded him to the Oilers. I guess the Oilers have been interested in him in a while, and the Penguins got Stuart Skinner, which is a goalie that the Oilers were looking to get rid of. Brett Kulak, a defenseman, and a second-round pick. Edmonton also, that was who the Penguins got, and Edmonton got Samuel Poulin. I think he's a defenseman from one of the minor leagues, from the minor leagues of the Penguins. So it's
Skinner's the goalie that led them to the last two Stanley Cups, but
yeah, he's like kind of like I don't know. I think they're saying he just needs a change of scenery. So you can never have enough goalies. It's kind of like pitching in baseball. You can never have enough goaltending.
well, the biggest thing with Skinner for the Penguins is this is his contract here. So
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 okay,
he's honestly just there to keep the seat warm for Blomqvist and Murashov, who I know Murashov's been playing, but
well
um,
he's been not too great either. But he's young. I can kind of it's like young
right.
goalie. You never know what you're gonna get.
And if they have Skinner up all season, if they have Skinner, that gives them the chance to play the Russian kid down in
Yeah,
Wilkes-Barre instead and get more experience. The Jari trade is all about It's Kyle Dubas saying, yeah, we're overachieving this season, but we're sticking to the plan. And Tristan Jari was never part of the long-term plan. Now you get rid of his, he had 3 more years on his contract.
Yeah,
Now you trade that for a goalie who's up after this year.
yeah.
So that it's pretty obvious why they did that. I mean, Edmonton, good for them. I get it. They're like so close to winning a Stanley Cup.
Mm,
You know, they were 1 game away
yeah.
2 years ago. They were 2 or 3 games away last year. So they just need a slight like push over the hump. So I get them taking a chance on Jari, but I think they're going to be disappointed. I mean, I really hope not. I don't dislike Jari. I do really do wish him the best, but my God, that guy, you know, that I just never like. You shouldn't hold personal grudges against people in sports because it's just sports. But that Islanders game, Steve, I just can't. I'll
Where
just
he
never forget that.
literally gave the puck. He was like, it would have been better if he would have turned around and shot the puck into his own net.
It seriously,
It would have made more sense.
it would have made more sense.
Yeah. It's like, what a heel turn. It's like the WWE. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? Like Jim
That's
Ross.
New York Islanders music.
Yeah. Jim Ross on the call. What's going on? Jari is turned heel. No, think of Sid's wife and family.
But that was, I mean, that was a good deal for a guy who they tried to cut late last year, and couldn't.
Nobody wanted.
They tried to do like the, leave the dog on the side of the road and go find, your home in the woods, boy, and then he comes back home. It's like, oh no, crap. So and they got a competent Stanley Cup goaltender for this year. They got a veteran defenseman. They got a draft pick for like 4 years from now. But whatever, they got rid of Jari. That was the whole point. The point was just to get rid of that salary. Yeah. So again, Dubas is sticking to the plan.
They need to do something like that with Carlson's salary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And maybe if, depending on where we are at the trade deadline, if we're not contending anymore, that would be a perfect time to move him.
I think even if we are contending.
Yeah, fair. Fair. Again, good on him. He's not letting a better than expected start deviate him from what the long-term goal is, and I think that's the most important thing.
Well, here we go, Tim. It's time for Football Palooza, and the only team left that's football paloozing locally is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Miami thought it would be a great time of year to come to Pittsburgh, since it was like how warm yesterday, Sunday night, like negative 12, and I don't know, somewhere
it was
digits.
pretty cold.
I watched I was watching some highlights of the Jacksonville game, and that looked very like there were people in like short sleeves or just t-shirts. There's nobody that was in their sane right of mind was wearing a t-shirt on Sunday. So.
Or Monday. Yeah, it was Monday night.
Yeah, Monday. Game. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Monday night.
Yeah, I was actually in Florida over the weekend, Steve. So I was one of those people wearing short sleeve shirts. And
well, were you wearing a short sleeve shirt last night? I was, but I was inside. So
we got back to the airport late on Sunday because our flight got delayed, and we had to dig our car out of the snow. And my body temperature took like 2 days for my body temperature to get back to normal. I was so cold. So I can't imagine what the Dolphins felt like on Monday night, because actually I can't imagine, because quite the culture shock to come into something like that.
So be that as it may, the Steelers did win 28-15, which I'm not sure that game was as close. I didn't watch the fourth quarter.
It was just a bunch of garbage points at the end. Okay. And Troy Aikman was having a fit because
well, they didn't I guess they weren't aggressive enough, or
they just kept huddling up. They weren't there was no sense of urgency.
You could tell the Dolphins just were kind of like, yeah.
Well, they just conceded. They're like, we know we have to go through the motions. We know we have to try to sort of score points, but we're just going through the motions, and they realized at that point they were done. So that's nice. I mean, we don't get Steeler fans don't get a whole lot of games like that where you can like go to bed with like 12 minutes left in the game on a Monday night. So it was kind of nice to have that.
Well, that was nice of Mike McDaniel to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, let's go through the good here. Kenneth Gainwell, 13 rushes for 80 yards and 6.2 average. The not very good. Jalen Warren stunk. I just can't say stunk loud enough.
He was sick though. Like
Is
he
that
was
what is it? Like he missed like if you watch the replay of some of those runs, like there were runs there. I think one point I remember Rogers was yelling, and I think Rogers was yelling at him because you could see on the replay, oh, there was an alley there. If he just hits that hole hard, he probably has like 30 yards.
one of the sacks was his fault too. Like guy just
He
came
got
right
run
up the
over,
middle.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
Trying to block? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he had a
was
bad game.
he was questionable. He popped up on the injury report Monday afternoon, questionable with an illness. So he was sick. I mean, that it sounds like he was playing through a cold or a flu or something, and it just definitely impacted his play. But that's all right. I mean, Gainwell, Steve. Here's a
He
good.
looked great. Yeah.
Well, I I don't mean to sidetrack you, but I asked this question yesterday of somebody. The Steelers name a team MVP every year, right? Who
Okay.
is it this year? And I really think Gainwell is not a terrible answer.
Probably Aaron Rodgers.
I guess maybe, but like, uh, is there anybody that really sticks out that you're like, man, without that guy, the Steelers sure would be struggling? And I guess it is probably Rodgers, but
Chris Boswell, do it.
yeah, but even Boz hasn't been. I mean, he's been very good, but he's not like the dominant force he was last year, where he was, beating the Ravens with 6 field goals. The But Gainwell, I mean, Gainwell's just been. I don't know.
He's a professional. He's like a professional football player.
Yeah,
He's not a Hall of Famer, but he's kind of like Eric Pegram or Chris Fu Follow if he stayed healthy.
yeah,
It just he's a professional player.
yeah.
So
Moelde Moore was kind of like that guy
yeah,
too. I just don't remember like Moelde Moore though being like that integral to the offense. Maybe he was. You know what I mean? Like that's I guess Moelde Moore. I mean, that year we won the Super Bowl. The second time we won the Super Bowl, he was pretty important to that offense. So maybe Gainwell's similar. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead, keep going through your recap.
oh yeah. Aaron Rodgers, 23 of 27, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and more importantly, no interceptions. That's what when he plays well and doesn't throw a lot of that's kind of like his stat line. If Aaron Rodgers has those stats, 9 times out of 10, we're probably gonna win. For the Dolphins, that Achan, who everyone's like, oh, this guy's gonna run all over them. I think he was held in check, Tim. These stats are weird for me from him. He had 12 rushes for 60 yards, but he did average 5 yards a carry, which is concerning. So I wonder if it was kind of like the case of like it was a lot of like what happened with Pitt's the college football team's defense. Like they were good against the run, but that was because when you have a big lead, teams aren't going to run the ball.
Right.
Like they were down by like what 25 points at one point in
Yeah.
the second half. So you're not going to run the ball with Achan a lot. So maybe they kind of play defense with their offense, which you can do. And Tua and Tua's stats, like this is it. Like people just like do fantasy football or look at stats. This is where they don't understand like the flow of a game or how a game played out. Like he was 22-28, like a great percentage, 253 yards. That's respectable. 2 touchdowns and interception. And that looks like, oh, well, he had a decent game. And he really didn't. He
No.
really didn't. And the tail of the tape there was he was like the Dolphins were let's see, 2 of 8 on third down. That's terrible. You're not going to win a lot of football games doing that. Now, for their part, the Steelers were 4 of 13 on third down, which is not good. But if you figured in the fourth down conversions, that would make them 7 for what, 16? So
Yeah,
that's
they
almost
were
50.
4 for 4 on fourth downs.
Oh, I have 3 for
Oh, I'm
3.
sorry, 3 for 3. You're right.
So that would so if you add 3 to each, so
Right.
that would make 7 and 6. That's almost 50% conversion. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's and on fourth down, the converting those 3 fourth downs was huge. Like I think teams have finally caught on to like it's 4th and 1 and it's almost like impossible to stop people now. I guess with the way the rules are to stop people on fourth down. So I mean, yeah, and the Steelers actually won the time of possession, which time of possession isn't like the be all end all stat, but it is a good stat to look at. But it wasn't by much. I think it was like 33-28. So it wasn't like overwhelming, like time of possession where you get in like 40-45 minutes and it's like, ooh, you know, that and the Steelers haven't been winning time of possession. Also in the red zone, the Steelers scored 3 touchdowns, I think, every time they're there. And although the Dolphins did score twice when they're in the red zone, and you said that was garbage
That
time.
was all garbage time stuff. That
Yeah.
really doesn't, like you said
Yeah.
about to his stats, you have to watch. It's the watching the game versus seeing the stat sheet.
Yeah, he's two is now 0 for 6, 40 degrees or colder. So
Hmm.
sorry too. This ain't Alabama and ain't played in a dome. So sorry, kid. Maybe if he was playing in Detroit or like some team with a dome like Minnesota. I wonder if he doesn't get traded. That would be a good place for him to get traded to, like Minnesota. That guy's like a quarterback whisperer up there in Minnesota. So I wonder. McDaniel actually is 0 for 7 in cold weather games. I think my summary of what happened was the Dolphins are a mediocre team. I thought they were a god awful team, but they're actually a mediocre team.
Mm-hmm.
And they just lost to a slightly better mediocre team in the Steelers. But it did probably save that 4-game winning streak probably saved McDaniel's job. Although I think he's probably done. Tua is probably done as an NFL starter for a little bit, unless he goes to like some team like that has like a quarterback whisperer coach, like the Rams or like the Vikings. Like I could see like a Sean McVay or do you know that I can't remember the name of the Vikings coach, but like that those guys are like quarterback whisperer guys, like Bruce Arians types. So we'll see.
I think you're right. His path is going to be he's a backup for a while, and then maybe he has a resurgence, a la Baker Mayfield, or plenty of other guys that have done that. Geno Smith,
Yeah.
like go somewhere, have a Sam Darnold, like be a backup for a little bit, and then maybe he has a chance to start over somewhere. So I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. Um, I really don't, but he's he, you're right. He's done. He can't
In
be that
Miami,
quarterback
he's
anymore.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And no, guess what? Mike Tomlin now has saved his. There he is with 8 wins. So he's gonna have his 9-8 season. All he has to do is beat the Browns,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's his nine wins. So I don't know what they do with Mike Tomlin. I mean, it's just the same thing over and over again. I don't. Somebody on the radio I heard them saying that they could win. They were thinking like I was that the Steelers probably win a playoff game this year. Maybe they do. I just don't see how. I just they got so many problems. But the rest of the AFC isn't that great this year. And hey, the Chiefs are out of the playoffs, and even if they could make the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be available. So there goes your prediction, Tim. The
Yeah,
Chiefs are,
no, they're officially eliminated, which is
yeah,
shocking. And you're right, like you said, a mediocre team beating a slightly more mediocre team. I feel like most of the AFC is mediocre this year, and the teams that are good, like New England and Denver, they're
they're
not exactly
unproven.
proven. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's wide
Well, New
open.
England lost to Buffalo. Buffalo finally but Buffalo is so puzzling. Like they're so
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah,
Like
they're very inconsistent. So
yeah,
so so you're right. The Steelers. I don't want to do a postscript on Tomlin until the season's over because I want to see if and number one they still have to get into the playoffs. That's by no means guaranteed. Um,
they're gonna lose to Detroit and probably beat Cleveland.
but then they might have to beat Baltimore to get into the
Yeah,
playoffs.
so that could be a 50-50 game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. So let's do a postscript on all that when it's because
Wouldn't it be now? What happens if they beat Detroit? Oh my goodness, that
yeah,
could be crazy.
yeah. I mean, they have a chance. The playoff scenario, they could actually
Because if they
lose.
beat Detroit and then they beat Cleveland, I don't see how they miss the playoffs.
Well, at that point, so in the next 2 weeks, yeah, it's Detroit and Cleveland, and then Baltimore has New England and Green Bay.
Yeah,
So if I think if we did that, which is very unlikely, but if we beat Detroit and Cleveland, and Baltimore loses one of those two games, which is also likely, New England and Green Bay, then I think we can clinch before we even play Baltimore, which would be great because we could rest everybody. But again, the the way that we're talking about this now, 2 weeks ago, everybody was chanting "Fire Tomlin" and booing "Renegade," and the season's over, and this is the worst, and what a joke. So you and I talked about it then. Like things shift every couple of weeks in the NFL. Everything shifts, and so you can't get ahead of yourself. Let's just see what happens next week.
We're starting to get into that stretch run here where maybe those Texans. We were talking about the Houston Texans, and it looks like the Colts are done. I don't know if the Colts are going to make the playoffs, quite honestly, which is a darn shame because they had a really great 3/4 of a season.
But that's again the NFL. There's a lot of shifting ground, and yeah, we said last week that Texans, that team with like the really solid defense and the really good but not necessarily elite quarterback. That's a great recipe. That's what I mean. The AFC is just wide open. So if the Steelers get in, I'll be at least a little bit excited because especially if they get in as division champions, because then we'd actually host a playoff game, which we haven't done for forever. I know we hosted that one the COVID year, but nobody was there. So the last time we hosted a proper playoff game was that Jacksonville game, almost 10 years ago. So it would be exciting. I mean, let's see what happens. They're not. I still don't think anybody believes they're like going to make a Super Bowl run, but let's see what happens.
Yeah. So yeah, Mike Tomlin 9-8. Woo.
Yeah.
So
the streak continues.
Yeah. Speaking of streaks, Tim, Pitt volleyball, they made the Final Four again for the fifth year in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, goodness gracious. I didn't realize they were that far along. I knew they were in the whatever this is for volleyball. So, and I know they were doing something at the Peterson Event Center because there was a bunch of freaking traffic at work the other night. So let me complain about the volleyball team a little bit. So, no, but they're good for them. And it's kind of under the radar, not under the radar. It's very much Riverhounds. Maybe we'll have two odd champions this year, the Riverhounds and the Pitt volleyball. And speaking of the Riverhounds, real quick, Eric Dick, the goalkeeper who was so well, he's not signing with the Riverhounds, so they're screwed. And then they lost that guy. That's
Bummer.
their best player. But I don't know much about volleyball except for sets and spikes and digs and whatnot. But hey. Tim, go Pitt, go. And any comments on Pitt volleyball, Tim? Pitt women's volleyball, by the way. I don't know if there's a men's volleyball team or men's volleyball collegiate sport, but
yeah, this is our 5th year in a row, and they haven't won a title yet. So hopefully this will be the
Buffalo Bills of.
Yeah, right. And they play Texas A&M on Thursday, and then I can't remember the other two teams, but they would play the winner of that in the championship if they made it. So yeah, it'd be nice to see Pitt win a title there.
There you go. We could say celebrate our national championship volleyball team.
Yeah. I would go to the Christmas parade for that.
Well, you can celebrate us all year round, even though Christmas is still a week away. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Check us out on your favorite podcast services, and we appreciate all the listens and likes and comments, and keep them coming. Tell me how I'm wrong about Mike Tomlin and how Tua is the greatest quarterback ever because you're a big Alabama fan. And SEC, right, Tim?
love the SEC.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, and we'll catch you next time.